Make the most exotic sandwich.
You have 10 minutes to plan your exotic sandwich.
Then 10 minutes to construct it.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the all-time funniest Taskmaster tasks.
It's not a question I expected to ask after this task, but have you ever walked?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
We're only looking at the main series and not the Champion of Champions or New Year Treat specials. Number 20, win the pub quiz by cheating.
Okay, question 1. What is the largest species of rodent? What is the largest species of rodent?
Not that. It's not a mouse.
A makeshift pub was set up in the house for this intriguing task, which was one of the few to involve other people beyond the contestants. They had 5 minutes to devise their cheating strategies and then got to work.
There's a hat there.
Emma City had the bright idea that the task wasn't about cheating at the quiz, though, but cheating romantically, and persuaded her teammates to go along with this. Although, cheating on her husband wouldn't actually help her win the quiz.
I'll be honest with you, I think this is when we do a quick romantic cheat.
Right.
So can I just give you a quick...
There we go. Let's never speak of it again.
In both teams, the strategy involved sending either Emma or Rosie Jones to repeatedly distract Alex by faking illness, and also calling Sue Perkins for tips.
Hi, it's Sue here. Sorry I can't take your call, but I'm at the underwater hockey. Which is a shame, because I actually really love football.
Number 19, play charades across a river.
I'm doing a thing where I'm not allowed to raise my voice, but you're not me.
Yeah.
If you were to shout across that river the words, the lion, the witch and the wardrobe, that'd be very helpful.
No Taskmaster list is complete without a showing from cheater extraordinaire Dave Gorman, who surely would have excelled at that pub quiz task.
Shout 1984 again!
1984!
Yeah, got one.
In this challenge, the teams were asked to play charades with giant foam hands across the river, with Rob Beckett stumbling at the first hurdle when he didn't recognise fellow panellist Sarah Pascoe.
It's Rob! Can he see me? Hey!
Hello?
Hello?
Who's that? Who is it? I don't know. Who are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
They gave it their worst, and obviously couldn't compete with the team of 3, when Gorman got the bright idea to involve a passerby. That passerby happened to be explorer and TV presenter Ben Fogle, who was more than willing to help by shouting out all the answers.
Mad Max!
Mad Max.
Mad Max! Winnie the Pooh!
Winnie the Pooh?
Was it unfair of Greg to let this go? Maybe, since the trio took 5 points each. Number 18, keep Alex dry.
Quick! We need another bin bag over the top, don't we?
Yeah.
Are we allowed just to block the shower off?
Alice Levine and Russell Howard made up the legendary Team Funk, who demonstrated some genuinely phenomenal out-of-the-box thinking during a task when they were asked to keep Alex dry.
Well, wait, actually, why don't we just hold... Rather than cover him, cover the shower?
While the team of 3 tried to cover him in bin bags, cling film and other choking hazards, Russell had the bright idea to completely disconnect the hose pipe from the shower.
Or we could just turn the hose off. If we disconnect it, make it go over here.
They covered him in towels, blew hair dryers on him, and made him a dry martini. It was a clear victory, and the others were gutted that they didn't think of just unplugging the hose so that the shower wouldn't work. They weren't helped by the fact that it was already raining with the team of 3, though. Number 17. Make a music video for a nursery rhyme.
It goes 1, 2 to the 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. I said 6, 7 to the 8, 9, 10. Then I let that little go again.
Was it unfair on the others to have a music-based task in a series with a professional rapper on the panel? Maybe, but Doc Brown and John Richardson did both take 5 points for their efforts. Despite having children, Richard Osman couldn't come up with any nursery rhymes off the top of his head, though he still did marginally better than Catherine Ryan and her tune about tooth decay. Of course though, it was Doc Brown's rendition of I Caught a Fish Alive that became an iconic Taskmaster moment.
Finger did it right. This little finger on my right.
He also did himself a mischief by punching the fish so many times in an accidental homage to that scene from The Inbetweeners.
It was a mixture of blood and fake blood.
Why were you bleeding?
Well, because I punched that salmon in its face so many times.
Number 16. Hoopla Gary.
Your time is doubled every time one of your limbs gets wet.
Fastest wins.
Your time starts now.
Is this Gary?
I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
This early task in Series 17 featured a new addition to the Taskmaster lore, a gorilla called Gary. They had to hula hoop onto Gary as he sailed past, which proved to be quite challenging.
You found Gary?
There's a gorilla on a boat.
4 of the 5 of them wrangled Gary relatively easily, some not even getting wet. But then we got to Sophie, who managed to hoopla a tree branch before Gary.
No! Come on, Gary. Oh,
As a last resort, she jumped into the river and nearly got into some serious trouble when her foot got caught.
Are you alright?
She was the only one who failed the task completely, but also the only one who figured out there were waders on the Scarecrow. Too little, too late. Number 15. Get the beach ball to the finish line using only water.
Okay, that's right.
It was Joe Thomas's attempt, more than anyone else's, that remains the most memorable solution to this task, where they had to move the beach ball using only water. He got himself soaked through, lobbing buckets and flower pots full of water at it, and mistakenly believed that the finish line was a little brick wall.
That's really a lot worse.
Finally, he resorted to throwing pieces of ice at it, before just pushing it with the ice, and finally finishing last with the slowest time of everyone. Paul Sinner, meanwhile, tried the hosepipe and didn't fare that much better than Joe, though he did eventually decide that moving the finish line was the best strategy. Number 14. Pile the pineapples on the path.
An intense whiff of kind of sewage. Yeah. Anyway, unless it's you.
The contestants were sent to a disused paper mill to contend with a filthy canal in this task, where a boatload of pineapples came drifting towards them. They had to retrieve the pineapples and pile them up on the side, all, bar Ivo Graham, oblivious to the extra pineapples waiting around the corner that they could have used instead.
I've done it. I've done a Taskmaster task.
In the end, it came down to who piled up the most pineapples, and whether Mae Martin's hand-drawn pineapples counted to the task.
13 pineapples there.
Greg ruled that they did count, so Martin took home the 5 points, but only after extensive debate in the studio from Ivo.
There are several pineapple effigies involved here that aren't really pineapples.
They're a bit more real than those drawings.
Number 13. Make the largest object properly vanish. Forbidden from roping in the crew to edit their footage for them, they all resorted to magic tricks and perspective tweaks to make an object disappear.
The largest thing I could find in this room disappear, vanish.
Well, I didn't expect you still to be in the wrong.
Richard Herring got us off to a solid start with a mirror, while Catherine Parkinson made a sofa vanish in a deceptively clever way, but it was Marwan Rizwan who was astounded and amazed.
You're looking at the wrong animal.
Where'd the cow go?
It turned out that the cow wasn't the usual giant Taskmaster cow, but a tiny replica put near to the camera, Compared to Daisy May Cooper and her fiasco with the hedge behind the caravan, it was no surprise that Moran won the task.
Are you watching?
I understand what we were supposed to do now, yeah.
How did he push it into the hedge in that short amount of time?
Number 12. Drive across the finish line.
If you disobey a rule, Alex will blow his whistle and you must return to the start. Back here.
Back here.
For a 10-second driving lesson.
Given a humble road sweeper, all they had to do was drive across the finish line, following all of Alex's convoluted rules. We started off with Sam Campbell and Lucy Beaumont, neither of whom knew how to drive, so they were already at a disadvantage.
Blue means you have to come back to the previous signal and then carry on.
Oh, yeah.
What's yellow?
Well, yellow means you've got to beep your horn and carry on.
Eventually, they worked out that the secret to completing the task wasn't to try and memorize it all, but to either nick Alex's list of rules or write down the rules themselves.
What? You're not allowed to stop unless you're next to a traffic signal. Can you come back for a driving lesson, please?
What the hell? That was good!
Unless, of course, you were Susan Wokoma, who, despite also not knowing how to drive, successfully memorised them and came second. Julian Clary was the quickest and also learned them, but alas, he ignored Alex and his whistle.
It's not for me. I mean...
Number 11. Build an extension.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, James.
Was the garage open for us as well?
You will see. I mean, it absolutely was, but you'll see...
We could have gone in the garage.
Yeah.
It's time for Series 7, known for all 5 of its panellists being some of the strongest ever on the series. In this team task, they were asked to build the best extension for the Taskmaster, with the boys in a team of 3 together.
Like, that blows my mind more than anything else. I thought on the day, oh, it's bad enough that he's done that and put the cardboard on and gone, this is an extension.
However, teamwork fell apart when Rod Gilbert decided to go off and do his own thing, leaving James Acaster and Phil Wang struggling to build the shottiest extension you've ever seen. In the studio, it was revealed that Rod opened the garage and saw that it was full of useful tools, only to close it again and then spray paint the word extension on the door. Legend has it that James Acaster has never forgotten this betrayal.
5, 6 years, there'll be an home.
Oh, and I'm going to build an extension on that height.
Number 10. Hide 3 aubergines from Alex.
My first instinct is to eat a whole raw aubergine. Or to destroy one and leave little bits around the room.
You knew it was coming. It's time for Ed Gamble. There were a lot of Gamble moments we could have added, but his dedication to hiding aubergines, or eggplants, if that's your persuasion, was inspiring.
Just because I know you.
That's not an aubergine.
From at first attempting to actually eat the aubergines so that Alex could never find them, he eventually hid them around the room in increasingly ingenious ways.
Well, this is frustrating.
It is, isn't it?
I haven't found much aubergine yet.
In the sofa cushions, under the pillar, and inside the decorative dolls' heads, he also taunted Alex throughout the task for failing when asked to complete something so simple.
I think I found the third aubergine.
It's amazing how much it compacts down into a baby's head.
It was no surprise when Ed Gamble came first and David Baddiel, once again, lost.
I loved it. I can't believe how stupid he was when he had to do a task.
Number 9. Fart.
That was a tiny little pop.
I've stopped the clock. Wow.
Perhaps our favourite of the many solo tasks panellists have been asked to undertake is this one, in which Mike Wozniak was simply asked to fart. He didn't have the easiest time wrestling with his bowels though, taking over an hour in the rented plane and eventually running out of time completely without passing wind. We thought that was the end of it, and that he'd failed in this deceptively tricky task, but no. After completing the batter task in the plane bar later on, he sensed movement.
What in fact I'd done is I'd dislodged a hemorrhoid that had been for quite a long time.
Oh,
that's what you're hearing.
He did a little dance, and out came a noise that you will never unhear. His later explanation of what happened, he's also a doctor, was infamously graphic.
It's still flapping about to this day. It's still loose. Oh, it's an absolute casserole down there.
Number 8. 3 items.
Do you remember these things?
Wait, did I meet these potatoes before?
In the final film task of Series 14, they were reunited with 3 objects they'd asked Alex for weeks previously. It wasn't a difficult task, depending on what the panellists chose to burden themselves with.
Then completely cover one of your items with one of your other items.
Then put the covered item on the wooden barrel without touching that item with your hand.
Munya and Dara had the easiest time, thanks to Dara ordering a human being, and Sarah also did well.
Can you hide that inside yourself in some way without touching the item with your hands? I haven't touched you at all.
I can confirm he hasn't touched me.
But it was John and Fern, of course, who stick in our minds, thanks to more of Fern's trademark non-sequiturs and John's incompetence.
If someone went, oh, can you get me a green felt tip pen? You'd go, I can't, they're covered in potatoes.
While Fern did her best with the objects she had, John was deeply confused about what he was trying to do, standing and staring at the burger for a while before bothering to move it.
I'm going to put that in there.
When?
Number 7. Record the highest number on this pedometer.
We haven't taken any steps.
I have, I just did some.
Do you think you're stepping?
I am stepping, look. Step, 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 step. That is a step.
It was a close call between this and Chris Ramsey's deadly sausage cement mixer, but there was something even more legendary about Bridget Christie's complete inability to walk.
I don't want to do this for 20 minutes.
Try going forward.
23.
A long-time friend of Greg, he never ceased to be amazed at how confused she was by the tasks, becoming one of the only contestants to actually get on Alex Horne's nerves. All she really had to do this time was walk, but she couldn't even figure out how to do that, waving the pedometer around and doing silly dances instead of walking like a normal person.
So what I'm going to do is record the biggest number that I know whilst on this pedometer. Okay.
I'm looking forward to this number.
But we can't believe that Greg let her get away with her solution to the task. What an upset.
Fair play. I think she has done it.
Oh, my God.
I think I'm going to have to allow it.
Number 6. Creepiest thing.
Oh, no.
What?
Every single one of the prize tasks for this whole series
that.
it has essentially been a picture of me looking fat.
More chaos from Rod Gilbert. In this incredible prize task, they were all asked to bring in the creepiest thing. It would have taken a lot to beat James Acaster's mummified cat and Kerry's slimy t-shirt, but his sinister video ended up coming joint first with Godliman. It's clear that if Rod was motivated enough, he could murder Greg. And if his ingenuity in the tasks is anything to go by, probably get away with it. In the outtakes, it was revealed that Greg had been hosting a party that night, and Rod just hid in the wardrobe and waited.
That actually made me feel dirty. Saw you out.
Did you check?
You didn't.
He had to stay in there for hours trying to get a good shot. Number 5. Horse or laminator?
Is it horse?
Yes, it's a horse.
1 point.
Who knew that Joe Brand had a secret superpower? Not the makers of Taskmaster, clearly, because if they had, they wouldn't have done this live task at all. Sitting opposite Greg, the contestants were asked to decide whether he'd put up a picture of a horse or a laminator, a game of pure chance. Or is it?
Oh, right, is it a horse then?
1 point. She's on her way. 14 to go. 14 to go.
Katie Wicks started off strong and got 5 in a row, but Jo Brand seemed like she really could read his mind, getting it right every single time.
Oh, God.
Laminator.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
This was perhaps even more intense than Series 7's classic sausage or finger game, since the stakes were so much higher with potentially endless points. She got all the way up to 13.
Close as mine.
Laminator.
Number 4. The Wow Monster.
It's either someone who doesn't know what beatboxing is, Victoria.
Right.
Or it's someone pretending they don't know what it is.
Another live task. In this one, they were each asked to make a certain noise, and then Greg had to guess who made which one. If they fooled him, they earned some points. He did relatively well at the beginning, despite some of the contestants trying to pretend to be other ones.
Making their way to the front. And there was the noise.
Victoria.
But then came the final round, where they had to make the sound of a monster. Alan Davies did this, and the entire studio, plus Greg, broke down. He couldn't work out who it was, getting most of the monster sounds wrong, other than Victoria Coren Mitchell, obviously, who he got right every time.
I just think Victoria thought he won't be expecting this of me. Big clumpy steps. Wrong.
Number 3. Write and perform a song for a stranger.
So you translate a poem from Japanese. It looks so tricky, but you did it with ease.
Series 5 was easily one of the most bizarre, thanks to both Sally Phillips and Bob Mortimer being on the same panel and on the same team. And Aisling Bea explained in the studio how difficult it was wrangling the both of them. This iconic task was no different when they were asked to write and perform a song for a woman named Rosalind.
Rosalind. Rosalind. Rosalind's a nightmare.
Mark and Nish put together a genuinely decent song and had some actual musical talent, while the other three did this.
Rosalind, geriatric Halloween. She's just quite far for a woman of her age.
They were ruthless with Rosalind, tearing her apart for our entertainment. Greg gave the most points to the boys, but it isn't their lyrics still stuck in our heads years later.
I'm always seeing you do cool stuff. I try my best, but it's never good enough.
Number 2. Make the most exotic sandwich.
Eat your exotic sandwich. Fastest wins.
One of the earliest bait and switch tasks, the gang was allowed to order whatever they wanted to make an exotic sandwich.
This is so good. All right. Chocolate spread. Good layer of the chocolate orange. Little bread ski. Double deckers. A bit more of the Nutella. Let's go.
These days, they'd see something like that coming, or possibly not if Series 13's sculpture task is anything to go by, and wouldn't make such egregious mistakes.
Oh. It's all smoked trout and the Arctic roll.
They all had something revolting to get down. A massive amount of chocolate, poor ingredient combinations, and even little Alex Horne himself when Noel Fielding displayed some lateral thinking.
And then I thought about how I could put a spin on that, so I thought maybe an exotic dance sandwich.
Strangely though, Noel's sandwich may be the best one to eat, since it was basically just bread, as opposed to bread covered in Mars bars, wasabi, prawns, and trout. Number 1. Buy a gift for the Taskmaster.
He's brought me some national book tokens.
Let me guess, 20 quid's worth. £16 worth.
The first 3 series all featured this classic task, but you know who we're talking about. The first ever winner of the televised version of the competition, Josh Widdicombe.
I've felt we've been getting on very well, Greg. Yeah, I think it's gone all right. I thought you'd worry that I'd forget you after this, so I've got a tattoo.
They only had a budget of £20 and 10 weeks to find the perfect gift. While sunglasses, scratch cards and book tokens were all adequate stocking fillers, Josh went for gold and got Greg's name tattooed on his foot. Imagine being Roisin Connaughton and having to follow up that tattoo with a pet mouse. She did alright, but nobody had any chance after Josh's big reveal. Obviously, he took the 5 points and the whole series.
Anyone who permanently inks himself up surely has to win this task, Mr. Josh Widdicombe.
Let us know which Taskmaster tasks you think you would ace in the comments below.
I've got something up my nose.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.